Good afternoon, everybody, to this very, very interesting session of Yogic Diet on the occasion of 6th International Day of Yoga in Hungary. I would, of course, like to welcome our chief speakers and the person who is representing Amrita Shergill Cultural Center, Embassy of India in Hungary. I would like to first of all welcome Ankita Sood, who is the yoga teacher representing Amrita Shergill Cultural Center, Embassy of India in Hungary, and of course, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I would also like to welcome our Indian guest, Mrs. Pallavi Upadhyay. Welcome, Pallavi, to this yogic diet session where you are also going to contribute by cooking a very interesting Indian millet recipe. I would like to now also welcome Beata Bognar. She's an Ayurveda expert in Ayurvedic cooking and very many different elements of Ayurveda, as she has studied that in her education. I would like to welcome Beata. And last but not the least, I would like to also welcome Dr. Barbara Iller. She is a general physician, but of course, diet is a very, very important element of her niche and competence in her study of medicine and therapies. Welcome all three of you to this session of Yogic Diet. Namaste. Now I would like to begin this session by inviting, first of all, Ankita Sood, who is promoting yoga and Indian culture in Hungary and many other, of course, places in Bosnia. I would request Ankita to begin today's session, give an introduction, and also introduce us to the healthy diet according to yoga and classical, Patanjali's philosophy of yoga. Ankita.
Thank you so much. Well, yes, before we begin today's session, we are now going to start the session with something auspicious, and the way we start with lighting a lamp. But today we don't have a lamp, so I thought let me just do it with a little dhoop and some incense stick. So if you can just see that here we have anything auspicious. We begin with some incense stick. So this session is all about the yogic diet. And we all know that diet or food, or as in yoga we say ahar, it plays a very important role to keep ourselves healthy, fit. But very important thing is that what kind of food are we eating? That is very important. The kind of food, what time we are eating, how much quantity we are eating, and how much gap we are keeping between two meals. So this is going to be a very, very interesting session where we will be talking about the right food, that is ahar. And in yoga, it is one of the four main pillars. In yoga, we have the four pillars: ahar, vihar, achar, vichar. And ahar is one of the most important pillars. So I was talking about the right food, and which is also called as ahar, what we are eating. So it is very, very simple. We don't have to do a lot of complications in what you are supposed to eat. Because if we consider that each one of us, we are in a different geographic area. So the food to be decided is very simple. You should decide what kind of food you are supposed to eat according to the geographic area. So that is very, very simple for the body and for the metabolism. If we are in a place which is very hot and humid, then we are supposed to have food which cools down the system. If we are in a place which is very cold, then again we are supposed to eat something which warms the system, which keeps the body heated, and the temperature of the body is maintained. Also, as in today's special session, we have different experts who will be talking about millets, who will be talking about the benefits of various things which are very easily accessible and easily available. When we talk about the food, also one more important aspect is the season. We must eat the food according to the season. Again, if the season is humid, have a lot of liquids. If it is very cold, again, so it depends upon the season, it depends upon the geographic area, and also it depends upon how you have been accustomed, how your system has been accustomed through different I must say it's like a hereditary thing. So always in India we say that we follow our grandmother, and our grandmother tells us that, okay, this is something which is very good for your health, then you must have that. So following your grandmother's advice is very important, and we do that. And eating the right food is very important. Eating at the right time. Now again, it is important that we should not keep on feeding our body with non-stop meals. No. Our body also needs a break. And as we know, we have this digestive system which needs that rest. And that is the reason we say that early morning, when the system has rested for at least 6 to 8 hours, it is important that in the morning we must start the day with the breakfast. And we should never ever skip the breakfast. So having your breakfast, the first meal, after that, keeping 4 hours interval, then going on to the second, that is your lunch. And then again, giving 4 hours interval and eating something in the evening like a snacks. Now that snacks doesn't mean that having a pizza or any other junk food, but the food which is good and it adds to the nutritional level. And after that, you must have a meal at night, which is your dinner. Again, it has to be not too late. It is very important that we must have our food at night, say for example, 7 o'clock in the evening, so that the system is getting the time to digest the food. And then when we sleep, then the entire digestive system is also resting. It is not that the entire digestive system is still working and then doesn't get rest, because if the system is not getting proper rest, then it is getting to problems, and it is leading to problems, and we have all the health problems like all the lifestyle disorders and problems which are occurring. That is very important. One more thing which I would like to mention is that water is again very important element in the human body. And as we know that 70% of the human body is having the composition of water. So we must have adequate fluids given to the body. Again, are we supposed to drink water during the meals? The question remains a big question for all the students. Now, whenever we are eating the food, we have very important enzymes and saliva inside the mouth. So when the system is having the work done of the chewing of the food, then that saliva is getting mixed with the food. And those enzymes are getting mixed with the food, and then it goes down in the system. So it is very important that we should not drink water continuously while having our food. It is extremely important. When we should drink water? At least 1 hour before having your meal and 1 hour after having your meal. That is important. Today's session, we will be also talking about the importance of the lubricants. And one of the important lubricants in India is ghee. And this ghee plays a very important role, in the session I will be also explaining it to you that how ghee plays that important role in digesting the complete food. So Now I think we will be starting. This is just an introduction, and we will be having some interaction in between. So we will be now going on to the next segment, and then in between, I will be giving some good tips and some nice pointers to be added. Okay.
Thank you, Ankita, so much for giving a quick review of various elements of interesting, healthy yogic diet according to yoga philosophy. Now we will quickly, I will give a chance for our experts to quickly give an introduction of themselves and briefly talk about what they are going to, discuss today. I will begin with Pallavi. She will be introducing herself and telling us exactly what she is going to do today. And keeping the time limit in mind, I would say that not more than 5 minutes. Is it okay? Okay, Pallavi, go ahead. So she will introduce herself and she's going to talk about what is going to be her topic today. Pallavi.
Thank you, Tanuja. Namaste again, everyone. My name is Pallavi Upadhyay, and I run a social enterprise by the name of Millets for Health. We are based in Noida, which is adjoining to New Delhi in India. And Millets for Health is working on the revival of ancient Indian grains, which are, in fact, now today we are hailing them as superfoods coming from this country. And millets is a group of grains that were eaten in the country about 40 years ago, 30, 40 years ago as staples. And over time, we stopped eating them for various reasons. And now we're increasingly realizing how important they are, how good they are. In fact, just a couple of days ago, we observed the International Day of Drought and Desertification. There also millets were spoken about quite a bit because they are climate smart, climate resilient crops, and they are very, very good for growing in areas where there is less water. Apart from, of course, this benefit, they are very good for us because today we are going to be focusing on Ahar, which is an Ahar Vihar, which are concepts of Ayurvedic food and Ayurvedic eating, and how Ahar plays a very important overall role in our well-being, and how grains such as these have over the years played a very significant role in keeping us healthy. Millets they're all alkaline, they are gluten free, they are high fiber, they're easily digestible. So they have several benefits, and we will be talking about these as I go along. I'll be introducing you to all the different types of millets, and we will be cooking something which is a very simple but a very wholesome meal, and something which is very good for us. We'll be cooking a khichdi with millets, and traditionally many people cook it with paddy or white rice, but we will be replacing that and cooking a millet khichdi today. So I'm looking forward to introducing all of you to all the different types of millets, answering any queries you may have, and taking you through this recipe.
Thank you, Pallavi. Now I would request Dr. Beata Bognar to introduce herself briefly, talk about how she got introduced to Ayurveda, which is a very, very deep study of therapies in the ancient Indian tradition. Beata, could you give your introduction and talk about what you're going to focus today?
Namaste, all of you. I'm very happy and very glad to be here between all these famous and well-known people to share with you my small little knowledge about Ayurveda, for which I think that it's a fascinating science, treating us as a specific, unique being. So it's amazing that we are all specific and unique. I did my first Ayurvedic cooking course in 2009 in Bangalore with my amazing Koshani Desai teacher. And from that time, I'm in love with Ayurveda. So I continued to learn, and I became an Ayurvedic cooking teacher in 2014. And from that time on, I'm just spreading this beautiful knowledge here in Hungary, Croatia, Bosnia, in different countries, because I'm from ex-Yugoslavia, so I speak all these languages, so it's easy somehow. And Ayurveda is a sister science to yoga. telling that yoga is self-realization and Ayurveda is self-healing, and food is our medicine. We have to know that. Whatever we are eating, if we are not eating properly, medicine will not help us. But if we are eating properly, we will not need the medicine. So we have to assume our food as a medicine. So later on, I will introduce a little bit more about doshas, physical doshas, which are Pitta, Vata, Kapha, and mental doshas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and how it's related with the food, how food had impact on physical and mental body as well. So that's it shortly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beata. Now the turn is for me to introduce Barbara. Barbara, could you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Welcome, Barbara. So Barbara is a doctor, and I would like to hear from her how she got introduced to, specialization in a healthy diet. Of course, a doctor would always tell us to eat this and not to eat that. I know about that. But how you got into proper healthy cooking, because she's also very popular person for the Hungarian television. She usually appears on popular television programs as a food expert. So Barbara, over to you.
Okay, well, thank you for that introduction. Well, yeah, actually I lead a lifestyle changing program. This is a foundation by this time. We have volunteers, which is very good. And one of them also an Ayurvedic yoga therapist. So I'm kind of familiar with that too. How I got into this whole healthy eating thing is I went to Hawaii actually after the university, because I felt that with this holistic view of mine, I can't really choose a specialization. So I spent 3 months in Hawaii, and there I met a doctor who cures with whole food plant-based diet. Like cures diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, arthritis, allergies, etc. So that actually was really interesting for me. So after I came came home, I started to do something similar, like this 10 days lifestyle changing program, and now we're doing dinners and camps and all sorts of things. And yeah, we've seen some really good results, even in cancer, in blood pressure, in diabetes, in weight loss. So yeah, our first thing is the whole food plant-based eating, and we do some yoga and we do some meditation also in our camps. So I don't know if we have like 1 more minute for explaining the whole food plant-based. Okay. So it means that we don't really use any processed food, or just very slightly processed, like something cooked, that's okay. But we don't use white flour or sugar. Actually, we don't really like to use oil also. So I'm gonna do a salad at the end, and I'm gonna put in some pumpkin seeds, but not the oil. So I'm gonna show you how you can put the fats in, but not in the form of oils. So that's one thing, and we don't use animal-derived food at all. And it has a lot of health benefits, as I mentioned, even for the heart. So it can reverse some heart diseases, type 2 diabetes, and all the other inflammatory diseases like arthritis and allergy type things. Even it's very good for mental health. So in vegetarian and vegan animals, there's no Alzheimer's disease, but actually it is found in meat-eating animals. So that's something to think about. I don't really want to steal more time, but I think this was a quick introduction.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Really, it is very, very important for all of us to understand the different food habits of different cultures. And if we listen to all the experts, we realize that it boils down to one philosophy. So the entire world is actually one family in terms of eating habits. I see that. So now I'm very impressed that everybody was very brief in their introductions and introducing the topic, because now we enter into the interesting aspect of our yogic diet webinar, because it is not just a webinar, it is lecture cum demonstrations. So I don't know how many of you know about it, but I also have a background of food, and I have been in my past, I have handled many television food shows, of course, as a director and writer. And recently, before coming to Hungary in 2018, I handled a show called Sehat Ki Rasoi, where Pallavi was one of my guests, and she had cooked delicious, absolutely mouth-watering millet recipes. I requested her to create one interesting recipe for us today. So now I'm going to hand over the next portion, next section to Pallavi, who is going to talk about millets. She's going to show us some millets. She's going to focus on how it should be a part of our present diet system also, because our ancestors, they used to consume various types of millets, and well, we know how healthy they were. So now I'm going to request Pallavi, start with your section where you will educate us to this beautiful world of millets and how healthy they are for us. So people who are being careful about their food habits and health and immunity, this is going to serve an example. Pallavi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tanuja, and thank you very much for all the kind and wonderful words you said about me. And thank you for inviting me here today to share about millets with everyone. Millets are basically, like I said earlier, old Indian grains, and they were used as staples earlier in place of wheat and rice. We used to eat them, we used to make them into flour, we would eat them whole. You know, there were different ways in which they were consumed. And over time, we stopped eating them because we had something called as the Green Revolution, where we focused a lot on wheat and paddy rice. And we lost out on our traditional grains, which are so rich in nutrition and also very good for the farmers, for the soil. They have negligible environmental footprint. They take very less water to grow. So it's a win-win for everyone when we eat these. Now, millets, they can be categorized into two broad categories. They are, so a bit slightly technical. They are major millets and minor millets. Major millets are, I'm going to take the Hindi and the English names. So there is finger millet, or in Hindi it's called madua, and popularly in India it's also known as ragi, which is one of the South Indian languages. It's the name in Kannada. So finger millet or madua. Then there is pearl millet or bajra, and then there is sorghum, which is jowar. These three are called major millets. Major millets, basically, they don't need to be dehulled. So their outer skin, it doesn't need to be removed before you consume them. So you can sprout them as they are because they are whole and they're not even dehulled. They don't need to be. You can make them into dalia or grits, like a porridge, how we cook. Or you can just, have them as flour. So for instance, you can see here, this is finger millet. It looks a little bit like mustard if you're all familiar with. It's slightly brownish in color. And when you ground this, it turns into this pinkish brownish powder, and that's finger millet or madua, ragi. So this is finger millet. I hope you can all see. Then I have bajra here, bajra or pearl millet. So this is pearl millet, and incidentally, I can also show you how they look in the fields. So if any of you has ever seen how millets look in the field, this one here is pearl millet. So these round things, they are removed, and then these are ground into flour. This is what we see here. So this is bajra or pearl millet. And then I also have finger millet here. So it's this. Can you see how it looks? It looks like a hand. This is how it grows in the field. So it looks like a little bit like a hand, and that's why it's known as finger millet. This is very high in calcium. Pearl millet or bajra that we saw, it's very high in iron. So this is what the panicle of finger millet looks like. And then we have some more here. There is this one. So I know we don't have a lot of hear back from the audience. This one is called, can you see how it looks? So it looks like a fox's tail, and it's called foxtail millet. That's how it grows in the field. So this is foxtail millet. It's called kangni in Hindi and foxtail millet in English. And then we have a few more. So these are the different types of millets and how they look in the field. Now, like I was saying, so there's pearl millet, sorghum, and finger millet. These three are major millets. Then there are 6 others which are called minor millets. They are slightly smaller, and they also need to be dehulled before we consume them. So like paddy, like rice, you need to remove the outer skin. and you can then consume them. So for instance, I will show you here, there is, you see this is the seed of a millet called proso millet, which is incidentally, I've been told by some of our other experts, is also very popular in Europe, in Hungary as well. So this is the seed of proso millet. If I just get slightly closer, and this is the dehulled version. So can you see the difference? This is with the skin, and this is the skin removed. Yeah. So this is the one that we can consume. So for all of the minor millets, for all of the minor millets, we need to dehull them or remove their outer skin, and then they come into this form, which is like sort of like rice. So you can boil it and eat it. Like the major millets, you cannot boil pearl millet and bajra like that, like pearl millet and finger millet like that, and eat them, because they won't taste as good. But these will taste like rice. So you can just boil them and eat them, and they're also easily digestible. So there's foxtail millet or kangani. There is proso millet, which we just saw. It's called china in Hindi. Then there is barnyard millet. Barnyard millet is called sawa in Hindi. We have that a lot during our fasting times. Then there is little millet. It is called kutki. It's very good for digestion. And kodo millet. So kodo is called kodo in Hindi. It's the same name. And then there is brown top millet. It's called makara in Hindi. So there are about 9 popular commercially available varieties right now. There are over 200, many of which we have lost, we don't even know. And people are still working and talking to people and rediscovering when we talk about millets. Now, like I said earlier, all millets are alkaline, so they're extremely good for digestion. And we need to be eating more alkaline food because our body is 80% alkaline. So we need to increase that intake in our food. All millets are gluten-free. Especially as Indians, we are all traditionally not supposed to be eating so much gluten. And if we look at that in the past, our diets are very, I don't know how it is about in Hungary, but our diets are very rich in fiber and fibrous foods. And in fact, even our wheat varieties that we used to use earlier, they were low gluten, high fiber varieties, as opposed to a lot of the wheat that we are eating today. And the increasing amount of, all-purpose flour or maida, as we call it here, which is being eaten by everybody. So that increase in gluten and that reduction in fiber also led to an increase in lots of diseases over time. And traditionally, we are not a population that needs to be eating so much of gluten. We need to eat more fibrous foods. So that's why these were our staples. So they are gluten-free, they are high in fiber, they are complex carbs, they are alkaline, and they are very, very nutritious. So for instance, for finger millet, it has like our daily requirement of calcium is anything between 1200 mg. 1000 to 1200 mg per day for adults typically. And finger millet or ragi has 344 mg of calcium per 100 grams, which is phenomenal. I mean, we don't get that in milk, we don't get that in a lot of other sources of calcium, which we get in finger millet. Then our proso millet or our foxtail millet, these two. So this is foxtail millet, and remember what we saw, like the fox's tail, that's very, very high in protein. So 12.5 grams and 12.3 grams of protein per 100 grams, which is phenomenally high protein content. And it's a great source of vegetarian protein. So we'll continue to talk while I now take you through the recipe. This recipe, you can either use a pressure cooker to do it, or you could even cook it in the oven. It just takes slightly longer, but it can be cooked in the oven or in the pressure cooker. We will be using a pressure cooker like this today. This is a steel cooker that I like to use. In this, this is little millet. It's called kutki in Hindi, and it's very high in iron and very high in fiber. So kutki, incidentally, I think the roots are also used in Ayurvedic medicine for digestive disorders. And this is the plant and the seeds that that we eat, the grass seeds and we hunt. So we will be using this for making our khichdi. We turn on the gas and okay. So this is split moong dal, yellow moong dal that we'll be using for the khichdi. We will add this to the cooker. We'll add this to the cooker. So for the khichdi, the proportions are half, like 1:2. So if I'm using half a katori of the dal, I'll be using one full cup of the millet. So 1 cup of millet and half cup of the dal for the khichdi. So I'll add this and I will dry roast it.
So I would like to add up here that in case any of the people here in Hungary, they want to know about the khichdi and what kind of dal can be used, the yellow dal which she's talking about, you can get it in the Indian stores. You just have to ask for the yellow pulses, which is basically called moong. So if you ask them the yellow, washed version, then you can use it for the khichdi.
Thank you, Tanuja, for the perspective and the clarification. So the yellow mungal it's a type of lentil. It's also very high in protein, which is what we're using today. And then we'll dry roast it and wait for it to become a little fragrant, slightly. We can take care not to burn it. And then once this is done, I'm going to. So this is washed little millet. We must remember to wash the grain before we are using it. Wash it and drain it well. And we are going to be adding this. So half cup of the dal and 1 cup of the millet. We'll roast this. Mix it well and wait for it to toast slightly. Now, next we'll be adding to this. This is haldi, and we'll be adding a pinch of this turmeric powder. So this is yellow turmeric powder that we'll be adding to this. A pinch of haldi.
In fact, I would again like to add here one thing that curcumin, turmeric, is quite an important element here in Hungarian cuisine also, and I think Beata is going to focus on that later.
Okay, well that's wonderful to hear, because curcumin is very important for us too, and in fact we use a lot of haldi in our cooking. Almost all our curries use turmeric. I'm also going to be adding some salt to this.
And if I may also add that turmeric is extremely beneficial to increase your immunity. So this is nowadays, I think everyone is talking about what can we do to have a good immunity system. Add haldi to your food and drink haldi milk at night.
Yes. So, in fact, yes, adding turmeric in small quantities in all our food is extremely beneficial for our immunity. And in fact, millets are also immunity boosting foods, because what does boost our immunity is eating a wide variety of nutrients. And when we, let me just add the water to this. So since we added like 1 cup of the millet, I'm going to add half a cup of the dal, of the pulses. I'm going to add about 4 cups of water to this. Okay. And I'm going to close this.
So give a recap quickly.
Yes, I can give a recap quickly. So first we added, this is closed now. First we added, we roasted the moong dal. There was half a cup of moong dal. And then we added 1 cup of little millet, washed and drained little millet. To that we added 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. And if you have raw turmeric, you can even grate that and use that. If you have like raw yellow turmeric, that's even better, if you can get hold of that. And then you can add a little bit of salt as per your taste, and then close it, and of course the water. So if you've added 1 cup of the millet, then it needs about 4 cups of water. And then if you want it to be slightly thick, you can, once it cooks, you can retain that, or you can even add hot water slightly if you want a more porridge-like consistency. So that's your personal preference as to what kind of consistency you would prefer. And like we were talking about millets and curcumin and the combination, this whole thing, this recipe is pretty fantastic because it's a great recipe for boosting your immunity. And the addition of millets really adds a lot of value to this recipe, because in terms of nutrition, if you're looking at paddy rice, it's right there, and millets are literally right here. So in terms of nutrition, there is a lot more that millets offer us as compared to a lot of other foods that we eat. And the more diverse our diet, the more diversity we get in terms of nutrition. So diet diversity equals nutrition diversity. which boosts immunity overall because we get a lot of different nutrients from different sources. Now we're going to wait for this to cook. What I've already done is I'm going to put this to the side and I'll cook this later because in the interest of time, I had already cooked some khichdi for all of you. So I'm going to show you what the final thing looks like. This is the consistency of the cooked khichdi. And it's pretty delicious. Once you start eating khichdi made from this, you'll probably not switch back to white rice again. Now, the next step in this, and
can we just see the final thing once again, Pallavi? In the camera, please. Yeah. Oh wow, mouth watering. We are hungry.
Yeah, no, it's quite good actually. And if you start eating a millet khichdi, you'll know texturally also it's very different and it's also very light. So when you eat rice, you end up feeling a little bit bloated. Sometimes that happens if you eat white rice. And I've had many people tell me this, that making the switch to millets from white paddy rice, the bloating automatically just completely stops. You don't feel bloated anymore after eating this. So if you're having this in your meals, you will not end up feeling bloated. And also you feel more energetic because they are high energy foods. They are complex carbs, so they break down slowly in our systems. They keep the sugars in check. They, the fiber doesn't let you put on weight. And it keeps your energy high as well. So it's, it's like a win-win from all sides. Now to this, the final touch that we are going to do is we are going to add the tempering. We Indians like to make our food slightly more interesting and also add a little more value to the food by doing the tempering, and we enrich it. So for the tempering, we are going to use, if you have a pan like this, it works, or you can use a bowl. We use a tempering pan like this. To this, I am going to add some ghee, which is, adding the necessary, the lubrication of the fats that we were talking about earlier. And I know Ankita really wants to touch on the ghee aspect of things and how it's important from an Ayurvedic diet perspective.
Absolutely. So whenever we are adding ghee in any food, what is happening is that the food which is going in the system, it is not in a dry form. And the food is being well nourished with ghee. And internally, when it goes in the digestive system, it gives that moisture and that lubrication to the intestine. So it is very important that once the food is entering in the intestine, it is not getting stuck inside the intestine. Because that stuck food, that dry food, that hard food is something which we call as constipation. So it is very important that the complete digestive system, so I'm just showing the intestine right now. So the complete digestive system should be free flowing, should be lubricated, should be soft, should be moistened. So that is the importance of ghee. And that is the reason when we have chapati, we always put that ghee on top, because when the chapati is being made, it has become very dry. The water content is being taken out from the chapati. So it is important to have chapati with ghee. And now we are having tasty millets with ghee.
Thank you so much, Ankita. So I am to the tempering. I'm going to add some ghee. About 2 tablespoons should be enough for the quantity we have. To this, the next ingredient is mustard seeds. So I'm going to add some mustard seeds. And we wait for them to crackle. And if you want, you can, so we like to add dry red chilies. You can even add the slit green chilies if you want, or you could completely avoid them. It is on your taste palette. So I'm going to break this and add the chili. And then I'm going to add some curry leaves. So this is a very simple recipe with a slightly South Indian twist in the tadka. So these are curry leaves. I'm going to show them to you. Here. They have a really nice fragrance. You can add anything else that you have available with you. So I'm going to add the curry leaves. And
in fact, I would again like to interrupt here. The curry leaves, maybe you might get fresh curry leaves here in Indian stores, but definitely you will get dried curry leaves here. So anybody who is interested in buying curry leaves for the seasoning, you can go ahead and purchase that. And of course, that red chili, can you show it again, Pallavi? I'm sure all the Hungarians are familiar with that. They are called paprika. And in Hungary, we have amazing variety of paprika. And of course, they will be familiar with that. Yes.
Okay, so that was the tarka of mustard seeds, paprika, and curry leaves in a little bit of ghee. And this our tarka is ready. I am just show you. So I'm just going to add this here. Yeah. And it smells gorgeous. So, and I'm going to mix it nicely. So the whole thing is added to the khichdi, and this is what our khichdi is looking like now.
Can you bring it closer to the camera and show it for and turn your camera? Yeah. So I think I think here in Hungary it is 1:15 p.m. and I think
ideal time for you.
Can you bring it more closer? Can you bring it more closer so we can eat?
Yes, I can't feed it to you. I'm so sorry.
I think now the next technology is going to be when we are going to take the plate and eat it.
Yes.
Take your plate and eat it too.
Absolutely. So that was our millet recipe. And this one is using little millet. You can, and I used a smaller lentil with this because the millet is small. If you get access to slightly bigger millet, which I know you do there, then you can also use pre-soak the millet for a little longer so that it cooks fast. For a khichdi recipe, you need to soak the millet for a little longer. And you can also use a slightly bigger lentil to go with the size of the millet. So you could use so there's pigeon pea or there are other lentils that you can use. And you can make a khichdi out of that too. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. Tanuja, have I missed out any important points?
No, in fact, thank you very much. You have busted this myth that healthy food is not delicious or not looks attractive. I must say that this millet khichdi has made our bellies grumble, and we are absolutely ready for our lunch after this interesting lecture.
So, just in one final line, maybe towards the end, I would just like to introduce and talk about what we do again. So the enterprise and this little space that you see here where I'm sitting right now, Millets for Health, like I introduced earlier, is a social enterprise, and we are working on reviving these old Indian grains. The way we do it is two ways. On the one hand, we work with farmers. We have partnered with a not-for-profit called Shodh, and with them, they are working with about 1,000 farmers right now in Andhra Pradesh, in Anantapur, which is the second most drought-prone area of the country. And we are working with farmers there and encouraging them to move to millets, supporting them in growing millets, and providing all kind of technical support. And Millets for Health, the enterprise buys the millets from these farmers, and then we bring them to the urban tables. We package them, we make them market ready, and we process them further into value-added products, etc. And we bring them to the urban table. What we also found that people did not know how to cook it. So we started this about 4 years ago, and it was a journey of personal health also for me, which maybe some other time we could talk about. So we started this about 4 years ago, and since then we realized people didn't know how to cook it. So then I started teaching people. So, one of the things that has evolved over time is, teaching and education about millets is a big part of what we do. We feed, we do catering, we teach, we talk and feed millets every chance we get. And because we found that to be the biggest change agent, the talking and the feeding and the actual telling people how to cook millets.
A couple of questions are coming for this particular segment, but we will reserve the questions for the end of this session. I know a lot of people must be curious to know about the names of these millets, especially the names which Pallavi rattled off very easily in the beginning, but for all of us, it was Greek and Latin, many of us, of course. So we will reserve the questions for the end. I have noted the questions which have been messaged to me. And we will move on quickly to our next element of our discussion, because we also have another recipe, a Hungarian, healthy, colorful, green salad, which I always order whenever I go to any restaurant in Hungary. So before that, I will just request Beata to come in quickly and tell us about the Ayurvedic aspects of the food scene that is very, very prominent here in Hungary as well, and how you have amalgamated the Indian elements of Ayurveda with the Hungarian cuisine, because you primarily stay here. So I would request you to now take your turn and talk about that. And after that, we will have our second recipe. Beata.
Yes, thank you. So many things Pallavi meant already, so I am full of different things now. I don't know where to start. Just shortly to mention that we have a lot of different millets here in Hungary, very, very Asian. For example, what she mentioned, this sorghum is called cirok. Then we have foxtail, which is róka, farkú, köles. The simple proso millet, which she was mentioning, is a millet, is a koles we know here the most in Hungary, but we have other pirog koles, olasz muhar, japán koles, kis koles, kakasláb koles. So we have a a lot of different types of koles. I can, if somebody is asking, I saw about these Hungarian names, I can send it, text it to you, or to who is interested in that. And one more interesting thing, that for ancient time here in Hungary, they found out that the best way to keep your health is to have every day different grain or different dal, like in India. So we have, for Monday, we have rice. For Tuesday, we have barley. For Wednesday, we have millet. For Thursday, we have rye. For Friday, we have oat. For Saturday, we have corn. And Sunday, we have wheat. So if you are keeping this, your diet will be perfectly healthy. Every day you change the grain, and you don't have any problem to think what I will cook next day. You have the menu already.
Today being Friday, it is oats day, huh?
Yeah, it's oats day. Yeah, and Saturday is corn, and Sunday is like the Sundays, the celebration is the wheat, somehow it's the sun, and so many things are concerned to days, colors, planets, and all many different things, so it makes sense. And concerning the ghee, I would like just to add that it's beautiful and it's clarified butter actually. So vegan people can also eat it, and the health benefits is enormous. Whenever we are eating ghee, we are adding ghee to our food. We are really like taking a medicine for ourselves. And as Ankita said, we are just coating our food. The same when we are taking any supplement or anything, we are usually eating it with ghee. We mix the supplements or the herbs with ghee, and that effect is much higher than we are eating it separately. So that is it. And from Ayurvedic aspect of view for the food, you know, as I said, Ayurveda says we are all different. We are all unique. So according to Ayurveda, there are 5 elements in the universe, and we are part of the universe, so it means we are 5 elements as well. So 2 elements are forming our Prakriti, our really constitution, which in Ayurveda we say Pitta, Vata, Kapha. Vata is made of earth and air, Pitta is out of water and fire, and the Kapha is made of earth and water. So this is our physical constitution. Whenever we have been consumpted in some time, we have born with our Prakriti. One of these, Pitta or Vata or Kapha, is dominating in our nature, or maybe 2. So we say we are either Pitta or Pitta Vata, something. That is about the doctor to decide what is your Prakriti. And this will remain till the end of your life. But in the meantime, the Prakriti, or due to the season, due to the change of your lifestyle, due to different things, it will change and you will go out of balance. When you are, your Prakriti is your balance. So when you are out of balance, you have to come back to your balance. And how you come back to your balance? The first thing, what Ayurveda says, is with food. With supplements, with exercise, with meditation, with breathing techniques, with a lot of other things. But the main and the first thing is food. Can you imagine? Amazing science, really. So that is how you come back to your really balance. And for example, if broccoli, we all know that broccoli is very healthy or something. But if your balance and imbalance is in that way, maybe for you, eating broccoli will not help you. So it's very unique to every. We cannot say like the Western medicine, eat this or do this. It is good for everybody. No, sometimes it's good for you, sometimes it's not. So you have to be very careful with eating and doing things because it's unique. You are unique. And you have to do everything like it is good for yourself. So sometimes broccoli is good for you, sometimes not. You have to see balance and imbalance. That's why it's very good every 3 months to go to the doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, check your pulse, see what is out of balance, and eat and do things according to that to come back to the balance. This is the physical thing, and there is a mental thing. We say we are not healthy only when we are physically healthy. We are healthy when we are mentally healthy as well. So when our mind is calm, when we are happy, we say we are sattvic, there is sattvic, rajas and tamasic mind. So only then we are whole. You know, there is a Hungarian beautiful word, I don't know whether you know it. It say egészséges. Healthy means egészséges, means you are healthy when you are whole, when your physical and mental and everything is whole. So it's beautiful saying. So in that way, the sattvic mind is when you are calm, when you are all the beautiful things when you can say you are calm, you are happy, you are balanced, you are intelligent, you are living in harmony. That is your sattvic mind. And you have food which is increasing the sattvic mind, which is very light, not overcooked, not over-seasoned, not in a proper mixture of, for example, they are not mixing milk and fruit, and this make a difficult digestion for you. So you are eating sattvic food, your mind will become sattvic and calm and nice, or you are eating rajasic food, meaning this food is making you be very active, running and too much. And too much activity is not so good. You know, it's better to be in harmony with yourself. Or you are eating tamasic food, which is stale food. Every food which is not vegetarian is tamasic, making your mind aggressive, making your mind not calm. So food has an impact not only on physical body, but on your mental body, and that you have to take care. The different spices, for example, very hot, or for example, chili is not good. It will make your mind tamasic, or you will be either dull or too much active. So the best 3 spices, which I will tell you like a secret, is cumin, coriander, and turmeric. These 3 are good for all the doshas and calm all the doshas. So you can use it in every food. Usually I'm using all these 3 because this will not make any harm for any of pitta, vata, or kapha. So it will make your dosha and your mental health nice. So I think that much. If you, during the session, if there are some questions, I will be answering nicely, okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beata. I think you have summed up the doshas and the prakriti very nicely. And in our daily life, I think all Indians and all Hungarians would agree that, you know, when we are eating a certain type of food, it definitely has, of course, an effect on a body, but also on a mind.
On the mind, yeah.
And that is very, very important. That is why while choosing in the menu or in the kitchen for our families or for ourselves, we are very careful in choosing the ingredients. And that is, I can say proudly that Indian cuisine excels in that. That is one of the reasons why we have a variety of food styles all over the country. Different communities, different pockets of India, they have their own style of cuisine, and they very interestingly mix the spices. So India is, that's why, the spice country.
Yeah.
And I think this probably session that we are doing is like the beginning of a new series of dialogue that we can continue between India and Hungary in future. And while the session is going on, a lot of ideas are coming in my mind, because it is focused on our International Day of Yoga, and we are talking about also the elevation of ourselves to a yogic realm where the food should have a positive effect on our mind, body, and soul. we will continue with our discussions with now our guest, Barbara. Barbara, you can unmute yourself and, of course, talk about how you have chosen this particular recipe and what are the elements that you have taken into account while choosing this salad for us, where you are also adding millets. So you can talk about that and give us some interesting tips.
Okay, well, thank you. I was kind of going forward with the things just to speed things up. So I kind of cut every vegetable, but I just left a few. Well, I was asked to do a salad with millet, and I was thinking to cover all sorts of nutrients that are helpful for the brain, the heart, even for the cold and this whole inflammation thing, the flu that's going around. There are some things here, especially the spices, that are good for women's hormones and menstruation cycle, and there are some that are good for the prostate and bladder. So I kind of try to do some good for everybody. And I'm aware that this is not perfect for all the doshas, especially because of all the raw foods and like tomato and onion. But you know, I'm mainly pitta, so I will eat it, but I don't suggest it for everyone. So first thing is the spring onion. I'm aware that it's not good for everyone to eat like raw onions, but maybe then they can eat cooked. You know, onions, especially spring onions, are very good against the flu and the cold. They have anti-cancer properties. They are good for the digestion, the eye, the blood sugar. So maybe I just won't cut the whole thing because it'll take a long time, but. And I just put everything in a bowl. That's the easy thing with the salad. You kind of just put in what you have at home and it will be fine. Okay, so we have radish here. I was told by my grandmother that actually it's good for dinner and it's okay for lunch, but you shouldn't eat it for breakfast. I don't know if there's any scientific proof behind it, but it's very good antifungal thing, so antimicrobial again. Well, obviously have some lettuce. It's good with sleep, good with calming your mind and removing toxins, good for metabolism. And then obviously we have our millet here. I cooked it with salty water and with sage. I really like sage and I really like to use a lot of herbs because it adds to the antioxidant qualities. And if you use a lot of green herbs, it's good in the summer to cool you down and help with the digestion. Obviously, I have some pepper. I picked green because I want to do a green sauce, you'll see. And yeah, only the tomatoes left to cut up. Well, this is good for the heart, the eyes, the prostate, actually a lot of things, even for blood pressure. It's really great. But again, I don't suggest for everyone to eat it, especially raw. I have a friend who eats like 1 or 2 kilograms of tomatoes every day. Yes, I don't suggest for everyone to do that. All right. That was all the cutting I had left to do. So I'm gonna start with the sauce, and in the meanwhile we can just stir the salad. That's all. I put this way. So the sauce will be very simple. I have some water here. Do you see it? Okay, yeah. So I have some pumpkin seeds. The pumpkin seeds have been soaked for a night, so it's easier to blend and actually all the enzymes are more active. It's better, and but the soaking water is not helpful, so you just throw it away because it has a lot of, you know, well, not toxins necessarily, but it's not clean. So you put in the, well, I can just put in all the pumpkin seeds. Okay, I have some lemon juice here. I didn't want to take the time to do it here. The leftover of the pepper here, and some salt. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, and as I was saying, the spices. I have some marjoram here. This is really good, and we use it a lot in Hungary. Only time when you shouldn't eat it is during pregnancy or lactation. but it's very good for the menstrual cycle and hormones, and it has anti-inflammatory properties, so it's a good time to use it now. And my personal favorite is rosemary. So it has a very nice taste, and it's very good for the brain, the memory, concentration. So
I could also just give a quick recap of what all ingredients you have added, because you like a professional, chef, you are going quite fast.
okay.
Repeat for people so that
now
you are noting it down.
Now or at the end?
At the end, or maybe if you could just repeat what you just did.
Okay, so in the sauce, there is, well, I would say it's too much water, but it's okay. So in the sauce, there's water, pumpkin seeds, some green pepper, lemon, salt, and spices, whichever you like. I like now rosemary and marjoram. So that's all that's here. This will be a little bit loud. Okay, I can do it for another minute or two and then it will be smooth, but I don't want to torture you with it. So.
Surprisingly, the sound, I don't know, to me, it was absolutely muted. There is some kind of automatic mute in your mixie.
Okay, then, well, okay. What I'm doing now is I actually just added some paprika to the salad, because if it's a Hungarian salad, then you should do that. So here is the salad. I'm just gonna mix it. I think this will be enough for lunch and dinner, but
there's no harm in mixing it in front of us. At least we can feel the...
Okay, I will try. Maybe like this. Okay. Yeah, it actually smells really good from the paprika and the sage. So I just put out some of the salad. And it's very important to do a salad that's colorful. You actually mentioned it before, but it's important because different nutrients have different colors, and they do different things in the body. So even if you're not aware which food is good for what, if it's colorful, then it will be good for a lot of things. Okay, so now I just put some sauce on top. If I had done it for a longer time,
can you do it a little bit closer to the camera of your laptop so that we can see it?
Yes.
It's still not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here you see it, and yeah, here you see it, and then I put some flaxseed on top, because it's very good for omega-3s, and if you don't eat animal food, it's a very good supplement, and it's also good for women and women in menopause. Obviously some parsley, because almost all Hungarian food has some parsley on top at the end. So yeah, I was thinking about to show you this salad. I don't know, do you see it? Hi, I don't hear you now.
I was busy taking pictures. It's looking so delicious.
Okay.
Yes, nice.
I don't know from which side I should show it.
I think it is perfectly fine.
Okay.
It's like, it's looking so beautiful.
So it's very easy, actually, very fast, colorful, and very healthy. So I would suggest it for everyone. It kind of covers all our organs and health systems. So I'm very happy that you like it.
Thank you so much. I don't know about others, but I am famished now. And before Ankita, I think, do you have a phone beside you? Could you order something from this restaurant in Hungary, in Budapest, please?
I was just adding to Barbara that this is extremely good for the roughage content. And it is very, very important to have some roughage in the body so that we are away from constipation problem, because many, many diseases are related to constipation problem. So roughage and such salads are really delicious and extremely good.
I'm really very happy that we have had a very interesting, extremely interesting session of two delicious recipes. My mouth is watering. So I think I will now continue with very, I would like to welcome somebody here with us. Please welcome Dr. Asmita Vele. She was heading the Ayurvedic chair here in the Debrecen University. And it so happened that we were chatting and she expressed her wish to be here. And I feel very lucky that she's here with us because she's the perfect person to give an interesting wrap up to this whole session, because she is an Ayurvedic expert. She was here in Hungary for nearly 3 years. And she has experimented with Hungarian food and Indian and Hungarian ingredients while teaching, while developing interesting medicines here. So over to Asmita ji. I cannot give a very flowery introduction of yours because your CV is huge. So you can introduce yourself and you can also wrap up this whole session before we end this whole beautiful yogic diet session. Asmita ji.
Namaste, namaste everybody. Thank you, Tanuja, and it was really a wonderful idea. I'm happy that I asked you, can I join? I mean, it was so interesting, that yogic diet, and Ankita has given a wonderful start and beginning to this yogic diet. Yes, I was in Hungary, and I could, I could do I could study both the cuisines, Indian as well as Hungarian, from the perspective of Ayurveda and also from the perspective of yoga. In yoga, it is said, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. That means you have to discipline your chitta, that is mind, intellect, both, and vritti. Vritti is deha, that is your body. So yoga disciplines your body and mind, and the diet nourishes your body and mind both. Ayurveda is a living tradition for last 4,000 years. It originates from Vedas and Upanishads. So in Chandogya Upanishad, there is a wonderful rucha, a wonderful verse, which says that the diet you eat makes your mind alert and calm at the same time. And this alert and calm mind brings in wonderful memory component, and this memory takes your body to the state of sublime bliss. So that's what the diet does. And Ayurveda has blended this philosophy in our daily life. I'm very happy to see Pallavi making that mouth-watering khichdi of kulash. So kulesh, foxtail millet, kulesh. And there are other varieties of millet which are available in Hungary for various breakfast dishes. And everyone can make wonderful breakfast dish with it. I will also suggest you that in University of Debrecen, the Agriculture Institute has experimented with Indian pearl millet, and the products of this Indian pearl millet will be available soon with intervention from University of Debrecen. So people can get this pearl millet, which is highly iron rich. From Ayurveda viewpoint, it is Ushna. That means it gives the heat component which is necessary for digestion. I would like to take ahead one more small part from Pallavi's demo. Along with this millets, barley is also very important ingredient of diet. It should be to control obesity and mostly to control the diabetes, pre-diabetic conditions which are high triglycerides, hypertension, where we can combine the millets with barley. Barley soaked in Triphala decoction if you cook it little bit and then eat it with honey, 2 teaspoons, that will help control the sugar levels for almost 8 to 10 hours in any constitution, vata, pitta or kapha. So these are some of the very, very important food ideas which come up from Ayurveda. Ayurveda also says, Tanuja, that you should have all the 6 rasas. So you should have sweet, moderate. You should have salt, again moderate. You should have something sour element. You should have the chili element. And you should have bitters and you should have astringents. So Barbara showed us a wonderful salad which has all the colors, and also I could figure out that she has added all the 6 rasas in that. So all the 6 rasas, all the nutrients, it's really time to have that mouth-watering dishes here also in India for me. But to end my contribution from Ayurveda side, Ayurveda gives you certain tips to maintain health as well as to in disease conditions what one should eat. There is a simple guideline: eat always warm, eat soft food, do not have dry food, eat sumptuous food, eat moderately. That means remain a little bit hungry, little bit, not too much, but just a little bit. Eat on proper time, eat slowly with concentration, enjoy while eating. Slowly means enjoy while eating. You are working and then you are eating side by side, it won't help. So for yogic diet especially, eating mindfully, tanmana bhunjita, is very, very important. So ultimately, you are what you eat. And for the yoga day, which we will be celebrating in Hungary now, and this is one of the program for that, I would definitely like to say that one should eat mindfully and one should practice yoga to practice mindful eating. So with this, I think I should say it was really nice seeing all of you, especially you and Ankita both, and all the participants. And thank you for inviting.
Thank you, Asmita ji. Thank you very much for giving us such enlightening words. Now is the time to ask a few questions from the participants. I have received some questions in the chat box. Maybe I'll begin with them so that, we don't have to unmute the people here. There are some questions. I will just scroll quickly and give the question. Of course, there is one question from Ruchika Singh. She has asked a question that is coriander seed good for health or fresh coriander for dosha? So this is the first question. I would request, I think,
Okay.
Barbara.
I will answer. Both are good. Yes, both are good, fresh and seeds, and both are good for all the 3 doshas. You can use it in any meal, both. Easy.
Another question for you, Beata, from Eniko. She is
Yes.
she's asking that can you give some examples of food which are considered sattvic and they are good, for the 3 doshas?
Sattvic food is everything that is light food, which is not heavy. We know what is light food: soup, for example. All fruits are considered sattvic. All green leafy vegetables. And what is important in sattvic food to make it light when we are cooking? We don't have to overcook it. We have to better steam it only. The steaming process will keep all the nutritions, so the food will become very light and easy to digest. About the different spices you have mentioned. Spices we are not using only to make a food more delicious in taste. but we are using it to make the food more easier digestible. So when you add in proper amount some different spices, that food will be easily digested. So even milk is considered like sattvic food, but not half a liter of milk and not cold milk, but always hot milk and maybe 1 deciliter in the evening mixed with turmeric or a little bit nutmeg. For people who cannot sleep, just drink a little bit hot milk with turmeric and nutmeg and you will sleep like a baby. So all fruits, green leafy vegetables, light food, rice is a sattvic food, all these.
There's another question from somebody, her name is not visible, but she has asked about millets, Pallavi. She wants to know what kind of weather, climate, is it suitable for, or season also, winters and summers? What would you suggest?
Okay, can you hear me, Tanuja?
Yeah.
Am I audible? Okay, so the important thing with millets and with just about any food is it's actually not specifically about the grain, but it's how we are consuming it. So even traditionally, like for instance, a lot of people say that pearl millet or bajra is, there's a conception that it's very hot. But in Rajasthan, for instance, which is one of the hottest states in the country, they eat it throughout the year. But they change the way in which they consume it. So bajra is cooked with buttermilk, fermented overnight, and then had as a drink in the morning. And it's a dish called rabdi. And that particular drink is supposed to be very cooling for the body. So it's not specifically the grain. So what I need to say here is you can eat all millets in all seasons. It's the way we consume them, what we are pairing them with, what kind of spices we are cooking them with. We can ferment them slightly. So that changes the nature in the summer. And in other seasons, then we can have them with different things. So if you cook it with a cooling spice like fennel in this season, like it's very hot in India right now. So we use fennel and we can use pudina, like mint in the cooking. So you cook it like that, and we can consume it in all seasons. That being said, like Greta said earlier, everybody's body is different. Everybody reacts differently. So you have to know your own body well, and you have to see how the food is reacting to you, and then consume things accordingly.
We have Seema Guruvara from India. She has a couple of questions. Seema, who do you want to ask the questions from?
The lady who spoke about water, I think it was Asmita. It was Ankita, I think, who said that we should have water 1 hour after the meal. So my question is, if we drink hot water after the meal, should we take hot water also after 1 hour? Because I had read somewhere that hot water you can take 20 minutes after meal. So I have been doing that. So should we wait 1 hour for that as well?
Okay. Let us just understand quickly the philosophy behind this tip. When we are having food with water, then the agni, we have that fire content in the stomach, that has to be there for the digestive system. So that is the reason water in any form should not enter the system immediately after having your food. So definitely at least 45 minutes or 1 hour, you must take that gap. And if you're drinking hot water, that works wonders. So even early in the morning, we should start our mornings with at least 2 glasses of warm water. So yes.
And what about lassi? Can we have lassi immediately after
lassi
food?
again, it is a form of a liquid. And in India, in Maharashtra and Gujarat, people have this habit of drinking lassi along with the food. Same philosophy goes that it should not be, if you are just eating something, chewing it well, having the saliva mixed with the food, and just few sip if you want, in case you feel uncomfortable in swallowing the food, then you can have it. Otherwise, try to avoid any form of liquid with the food. It is extremely good tip to keep your belly flat. So you will not have that belly fat, and you will be having a slim figure.
Okay. I have one last question, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
This is from the lady who said Monday we have rice, Tuesday we have millets. So what do we have on Wednesday? Can you please share that again? I was noting it down, but I missed a few.
I think she can write it down in the chat.
Yes,
Write
it's
it down in the chat.
or I have a document, but I'm not familiar to send how to send it. So I will repeat: Monday is rice, Tuesday is barley, Wednesday is millet, Thursday is rye, Friday is oat, Saturday is corn, and Sunday is wheat. And we can say also the dals. Monday is mung dal, Tuesday is mung bean, Wednesday is mixed dal, chana dal, whatever, mixed dals. Thursday is red beans, Friday is chickpeas, Saturday is mot. You know in India what is mot. We have also here in Hungary. And Sunday is tur dal. So this is an ancient recipe.
Sunday is yoga day.
Yeah,
So
sun.
Sunday is
Sun
yoga
day.
day. Okay, so now I am going to wait for 2 more minutes. If anybody has a question, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question from any of our guests. Anybody who is interested?
I would like to just sum up with one sentence. In India, in Hindi, we say, Jaisa an, Vaisa man. Jaisa man, Vaisa tan. That means, as the food, so the mind. As the mind, so the man. I thought it was a very relevant saying, and I must share this in this beautiful session of yoga and diet.
We have really enjoyed this whole session with all our guests. Thank you so much for coming from, all the way from India. All the way from India. Pallavi has joined us.
Still blocked, but you made it.
Yes. And she actually created a delicious recipe for all of us to repeat it. We are going to do it. Thank you so much, Barbara, for that delicious salad. And as soon as I end this meeting, the first thing I'm going to do is to open my lunchbox. Thank you so much, Barbara, Beata, for giving so many interesting tips. Asmita ji, thank you for joining. I'll just, I think your video is off, but thank you so much, all of you, for joining, all the guests. And Sunday, we are having the International Day of Yoga, 21st June. I must tell everybody, because it is online, because of the theme given by the Ayush Ministry, that all of us can do yoga from home. So we can do yoga from wherever we are. The International Day of Yoga, for us, it is 6th International Day of Yoga. We are going to do it from an iconic building, Hero Square in Budapest, where Ankita is going to start the yoga. And thereafter, nearly 12 to 15 yoga experts and teachers from all over Hungary and Bosnia and Herzegovina are going to, one after the other, perform the common yoga protocol and continue this movement of ours, that yoga you can do from home. Yoga is for well-being and health. And all of us, all over the world, we will not feel dampened by the pandemic. We will not feel disheartened by so many sad news all around, but we are going to look after ourselves, look after our family, and look after the world. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and happy International Day of Yoga. Hope all of you will join in on our Facebook page. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was so nice to see Asmita ji. It was so nice to see
you, Ankita. Nice to see you also.
I can see you now. You are in the car. So thank you so much. And thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you and bye. Thank you, Beata. Bye.
Bye.